So that shiny new game just came out, WUCHANG Fallen Feathers, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Well, let's take a look at the game for some first impressions. Keep in mind this is not a full review, this is a quick look at the game. I played the game for 2.5 hours, so I'll show some footage of the game while describing it and giving a few thoughts on it. Here's a quick view of what I think. The actual gameplay isn't bad, it's a decent game with decent combat. The problem is the terrible performance this game has. My footage is a mixture of various different graphic settings, as I kept changing it to figure out how to best play this game. The 1% lows just drop non-stop, leaving the game feeling stuttery. Even if I capped the FPS to 60, it would still drop to the 20s or 30s. If the performance issues get fixed, then I'd say this is a game to at least try out. It's not bad in terms of actual gameplay, but if it doesn't get fixed, then it's not worth the mess. I'll give a brief overview of the gameplay. I wasn't really following along too well as I was battling the performance, so I'm not fully aware of the story. So you play as a female, WUCHANG, and you start in a cave. Once you walk out, you'll have a path to follow and a few enemies to fight. One thing that's apparent about your character is that she has some revealing clothing and some jiggle to her. There's also some enemies and characters that you'll come across that are also in skimpy-ish clothing. It seems to be a theme in this game. The thing with the main character is that she lost her memory, and that's because she also has an infection. It's called the feathering. Her arm has feathers growing on it, but it also gives her powers. Everyone else who gets that infection always turns into monsters, but she hasn't, at least yet. Because of the feathers, she'll be attacked on sight most times. You'll find shrines every now and then. They act as respawn points and areas to upgrade your skills and weapons, much like how a lot of other Souls games have areas like this. You can also reset all enemies at shrines, except for a few like bosses, and doing that will also give you full health and restore all your health potions. When you die, you'll respawn at the last shrine that you interacted with, and also your in-game currency will be dropped where you died. One thing that's neat about dying is that your madness meter will go up. The madness thing is interesting. Besides dying, some enemies will give you more madness by killing them, but killing other enemies will decrease it. You can also increase it or cleanse it with other means. At 90% madness or higher, that increases the damage that you do, but also increases the damage that you take. If you die when it's this high, you'll leave behind a demon, and you'll need to kill it to get your currency back. Dodging is heavily used in this game, but as I understand it, once you unlock the disciplines, you can unlock some different forms of parrying. I didn't get that far though, so I was stuck using the dodge, which kinda irritated me honestly. In Souls-like games, I always go with the block or parry most times, and I rarely use the dodge, so I was playing kinda bad in this game as my instincts were messing me up. For weapons, you have 5 different types: longswords, dual blades, spears, axes, and one-handed swords. I tried all but the dual swords as I never even found those. I'd say the default longsword is my favorite so far, with the spear being second. I have a feeling I might like the dual blades once I find them though. You can carry 2 weapons, and you can also change out the armor that you're wearing, all of which have their own stats. There's no map or quest markers, but the game is fairly linear, so it shouldn't be too hard to find the way. There's some water in the game, so I tried walking into it, and I died immediately, so don't try going into water. Also, if you fall off cliffs, you'll either die or lose a lot of health depending on where you are and how high you are. At one point, I died twice in the same spot because I was fighting enemies on a narrow bridge, and then I fell off all the way to the bottom. You have various ways to attack enemies, as weapons have different attack moves, and then you also have magic. More spells can be found as you play, but the beginning spell is decent. Magic uses Skyborn Might, as does bigger weapon attacks. You get Skyborn Might by dodging at the correct time, and you'll see a flash of blue when it happens. I'm not sure if there's other ways to get Skyborn Might in the game, but I'd say it's pretty likely, but I just haven't got to that point yet. The enemy types have a good variety to them, and I'm surprised to see that some had a form of gun as well. Some of these smaller enemies are really easy to beat, and some are way more difficult. For example, there's an enemy that will rush you and stab you over and over, or one that will grab you and bite you, and one that has toxic fumes. Those can be harder than the average enemy if you're not prepared, but I like the enemy variety so far in this game. The bosses are also hard, at least for me they were. I died over and over to them as I slowly learned their moves and the game's controls, and also because I wanted to parry so bad. There's a little bit of exploration to do. You'll find chests with consumables, or just consumables by themselves. There's a decent amount of different kinds, so I'm not going to list them all, but 3 examples are steamed bunny buns, those give health, throwing daggers, and fire pots. You'll get weapons and armor from defeating bosses or buying them from merchants, but also while exploring, but that's not as common as finding consumables. I didn't get that far in terms of story or gameplay, but I did not have a great time on this game, as I was struggling with rough performance. But surprisingly, there are some people who say their games ran just fine. Maybe you'll be lucky and be one of them, but I sure wasn't. Oh, and I'm speaking of the PC version. I have no idea how this is on consoles. I think that once the performance of this game is fixed, if it is, hopefully, then this game would be worth trying out. The game itself seems fine, possibly even good, but currently, as of release, the performance is just really rough, at least for most people. I'd say this is a game that you'll want to to wait and see what happens with it before you pull the trigger on it, though that's my personal opinion. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you on the next one.